Jazz Jennings is the star of the groundbreaking reality show I Am Jazz about life as a transgender teenager, and the show just concluded its fifth season on TLC. I'm Kevin Jacobsen, writer at Gold Derby, here with Jazz herself. So, Jazz, it was a huge moment on the show this season where you had your gender confirmation surgery, which I believe took place in June of last year. So, how are you feeling just emotionally at this point now that we're coming up on a year since the surgery?
Yeah, I can't believe it's already been a year. I'm feeling great, honestly. The surgery really brought me a great sense of peace because I finally had that mind body alignment that I had been looking for my entire life. And now I feel like I'm in the body that I've always wanted, and I'm just feeling confident and like myself. And this past year has been so transformative on so many levels. I feel like I've grown so much and matured a lot, and I'm just excited to continue expanding and growing in the future.
Absolutely. And you also allowed cameras to film the surgery and everything pre-op
Yes.
and post-op and put it on the show and really capture the entire experience. And I'm sure you're
Mhm.
kind of used to the cameras following you ever since the show started in 2015. But I'm curious just how conscious you were of the presence of the cameras and the fact that, it was going to be on TV where young people who might be going through the same process would be able to see it. Or were you just kind of in your own head and focused on making sure everything was okay for you?
No, having the cameras there was definitely very challenging. I don't want to use the word invasive, but having a surgery like that really is a private process, and sharing that was difficult. And there were times when they wanted to interview me to gauge how I was feeling. And I remember they said the interview was going to be 45 minutes. Um, 45 minutes in, we still had 8 pages of questions left, and I was like, I can't do this right now. I just started breaking down crying, and I had to kick the cameras out. I was like, we can't do this anymore. So even though it was hard, they respected my privacy, and when I needed space, they really listened to that. So the camera crew is just amazing. Everyone is so incredible. We're really lucky to have amazing people working with us on this show. And yeah, I was very, I wanted to share my story. I was willing to share this because I feel like even though it is a personal process and not everyone wants to talk about what's between their legs and genitalia and all that stuff, it's important that we put that information out there so that people can be educated and can learn from someone else's experience and really just see what it's all about.
Yeah. And a big part of the two-part episode was also about your mother and how she was grappling with making sure you were okay about, and also kind of worrying about what was happening with your grandfather. And so,
That was a
were
lot.
when you were able to watch those episodes back, how did you react to just seeing your mom's journey alongside your own?
It was really hard. I think my mom had a harder time than I did because even though everything happened to me, I knew it was going to be okay in the end. I was like, one day I'm going to be able to kick my leg high up and it's going to be fine. But my mom, she had to deal with being a mother and being a daughter at the same time because I was going through something and her father was going through something as well. So she was just, I think that was probably one of the hardest experiences of her whole life. And to look back and see how strong she was through all of it, it just really makes me respect and admire my mother even more. I mean, I already did respect and admire her, but she's incredible. She's the best.
Yeah. And another big storyline in this season involved you getting your first boyfriend, Amir. So, what was the experience like of just, finding someone you like and someone who likes you back just for the first time?
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting experience. I really hadn't been in a relationship before, so I didn't know what that all entailed. And I was just kind of learning as I went along, and it was hard at times, but I definitely feel like that experience was super valuable because it really helped me understand the relationship dynamic. And now I know for myself that I'm young, I don't want to be in relationships. I want to stay untethered at this time in my life. And once I meet that special someone in the future, then I'll talk about the boyfriend girlfriend label and whatever, whatever. But we'll see. It might not even be boyfriend. It could be girlfriend. It could be non-binary person. I love everybody.
Nice. And there was a big episode this season dealing with Amir and his transphobic mother,
Oh
and it
yeah.
all culminated in this phone call that really took a turn for the worse. And so, when it comes to dealing with transphobic people in your life, whether it's your daily life, online, or wherever, do you generally try to do what you did in that episode, which is just try to educate and answer questions and get them to understand that you're just a person like everybody else?
Yeah, I try to remain as calm as possible and just share my wisdom, share my experiences, and really try to humanize my experience of being a transgender person because I feel like so many people don't see us as human beings. They hear the word transgender and they immediately see us as something inferior. And I don't know, I feel like in that situation, I didn't handle it exactly how I wanted to because I did end up getting a little upset with her and I kind of like went off. But I feel like in those situations, you really have to remind yourself that you can't, instill your opinion upon other people. Everyone has the right to think the way they think. And even if you don't agree with them, even if you want people to see that, I'm just a human being, transgender people are human beings, and you should accept and love everyone. If they don't see that, then that's on them and they'll have to live their life with that negative mindset. So, I don't know. In the future, in those situations, I really just want to be more calm and speak my truth as I did in that situation as well, but I don't want to be overly enforcing of my opinion.
Yeah. And I'm curious to know about how you feel about your role in the transgender community. I mean, do you feel like you have a responsibility to be this positive role model all the time, or do you think it's important for people to, see mistakes you might make or some of your more down or negative moments?
Totally. I feel like it's really important to see my mistakes, and I feel like a lot of people do see my mistakes. Yeah, in the past I have put pressure on myself to be this perfect role model type person, but now I've kind of dismissed all of those feelings and I know that I just have to be myself and that's all I can be. And I really have been true to myself throughout this entire journey, but there are times when I do try to be that positive role model, but now it's just about speaking my truth and really just saying how I feel at all times.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask, since you're one of the most prominent trans people on television right now, how you think that the landscape for trans people on TV or in film right now is, and just how much work you think there is left to be done.
Um, I'm really happy to see the progress because I do think we can use the word progress because there are more trans and non-binary characters than there were in the past. Do I think there should be more? Yes. But it is an improvement from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and I just feel like we are heading in the right direction even considering the political climate. I know that love is going to win in the end and that people are going to see that transgender individuals are human beings as well. We deserve equal rights and everything. So I don't know, I really hope we continue seeing those trans and non-binary stories in the media, and I think we will.
Mhm. And it seems, kind of speaking to that, it seems like there's been a lot of attacks on the trans community by the current administration, whether
Mhm.
it's, military ban, a rule proposal that would deny protections for homeless transgender people, and another proposal that would basically permit healthcare providers to deny access. And so, with all of these horrible things happening, do you have any sort of response to the actions of this administration?
I mean, I just think it's concerning. I think it's really concerning when anyone says that, when anyone looks at another human being and says, because you are this way, we don't think you deserve equal protections and equal rights. Who are you to say how someone else should identify and how someone else should behave? We're not hurting anyone. We're just expressing ourselves as our true, authentic selves. And we deserve to just do that, to be who we are and be respected for that rather than being shunned and dismissed and treated unfairly. It's just, I don't understand it. I don't really understand this world and a lot of things that happen, but I just try to stay positive and I know that even though it doesn't look good right now, it will get better in the future.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And I mean, is there anything that you suggest that people in the community and those who are allies kind of do in response to all of these kinds of attacks?
Yeah, continue speaking out, share your messages of truth, and always just fight for your rights. I think if you don't want to speak out, that's okay as well. But if you do have a platform to use your voice and share that message, then do it, because we need as many people as possible spreading those positive messages and really highlighting, the actions of the government and how unjust it truly is. So I think our community is really strong, and that we're not going to give in, and we're only going to continue growing and expanding our advocacy. So I have a lot of hope.
That's great. Yeah. And circling back to I Am Jazz for a bit, the show won a GLAAD Media Award for Best
Yes.
Reality Program in 2016. It's been nominated year after year. So, what does that kind of recognition mean for you and your family and the show itself?
I mean, it's really cool. I mean, we didn't do the show to be recognized. We did it so that we could help other people and make a difference, because the world needs to hear trans stories. And while it's great to be recognized and honored, that's not what it's about for us. It's about continuing to make a difference and sharing our message.
Yeah. And what are some of the most positive responses that you've received from just doing the show and letting people into your world?
Yeah, I've received a lot of positive responses. It's crazy the impact that the show has had on people. People say that we've changed and in some cases saved their lives, which means that they don't know if they would be here on this earth if it weren't for the show and the message that our family shares. And to hear that, just by sharing our story, we could help other people live their truth and come out in their story, that's just so rewarding, and it really brings a lot of fulfillment.
Yeah. And the show is coming back for a sixth season. So, did you ever think just back in 2015 that the show would be as successful as it has been?
I honestly had no expectations. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I was like, "We're doing a TV show. This is crazy!" And then it kept going season after season, and I can't believe we're on season 6 already. That's just like mind-boggling. But I'm proud of our family that we've come this far and that we've made it to 6 seasons. That's amazing. So yeah, I'm proud.
Is it the kind of thing where you're thinking of like an ending date at any point, or do you
Um,
sense any sort of
well,
finishing point?
I am going off to college in the fall, so I feel like that's probably going to be the end of the show. They might do some specials to see where I'm at in the future, but I don't know. Once I'm in college, I think I'm ready to begin my private life.
Beautiful. I also wanted to know if there were just any like storylines or moments in your life that have not been covered on the show that either you like that they kept it private or you wish maybe people had seen it.
Oh, there's too many storylines that haven't been covered on the show. So much isn't covered. I mean, I think that's for the better, though. I think it's good that I have my private life and that I'm able to keep things personal. Although there are certain things I can't, nothing specific is coming to mind, like, oh, I wish this was shared. But I feel like the show, for the most part, covers the important things that are occurring in my life. But there's 24 hours of a day, and each episode is 1 hour, and it's only once a week. So it doesn't cover everything. But yeah, I think what it does cover is good.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jazz, and hopefully maybe we can get you some Emmy attention for you guys.
Maybe. We'll see. Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
And for everyone else, please hit subscribe for more award season interviews and head to goldderby.com to make your own predictions.